What is up, everyone? My name is Kyle. I'm with Danny. We are not talking about X-Men because this is not an X-Men podcast. You excited, Danny? New ventures? We're stepping outside. Your favorite place.
I'm actually quite excited about this because the X-Men venue for pop culture and just overall talk has kind of hit a lull societally on a societal standpoint.
I agree. The gays disagree. They're loving it right now.
Yeah. I mean, some of those things are directly made for them, so I don't blame them. I bet they are.
But not only Danny is with me, we also have Bing with us today. Yeah, that's right, Bing, featuring ChatGPT-4. Bing, what is your opinion of the X-Men?
Oh my God!
Okay, you ready for this?
This is intense. I don't think I've ever asked Bing this.
I don't think it'll give opinions. It'll say, like, I don't have opinions, but this is what people are supposed to say.
Oh my, here we go.
I don't have personal opinions or feelings. However, X-Men are a popular superhero team in the Marvel comic universe. They were created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, first blah, 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 mutants, blah, blah, basic stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's like he's like fucking parroting a Wikipedia entry. I don't know.
Let's see. What is the most popular X-Men character being?
Oh, okay. This is going to be Wolverine for sure.
You think it's going to... Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's going to be one. No, it's going to be
or
fucking...
Magneto. Wolverine. Okay.
Yeah, as I say, Magneto is definitely top 5. But...
All right. According to Bing, which brought up a list from Fiction Horizon, top list is number 1, Wolverine, number 2, Storm. I agree with that, actually.
Yeah, the Storm one makes sense. That I would have guessed over Magneto easily.
4, Professor X. 5, Jean Grey. Phoenix.
Oh, that's cheating though. That's not fair because that's so then like what Madeline Pryor and then we just keep going like her clone and then just that's dumb. That's like then you're like cheating because you're adding in all those fans because who doesn't like the Phoenix? It's a cosmic being, but most people honestly the Jean Grey thing always kind of confounded me over time because I'm like Jean Grey hasn't been relevant in comics for so long. Why do people have this like candle for her that they keep holding on to? But there you go. It's because they want to make it synonymous with the Phoenix.
It'll always be her apparently, until it's not. Until we get that split. Why are we talking about X-Men? This is not an X-Men podcast.
You brought up a list of X-Men information.
No, Bing. I'm sorry. Bing brought up a list of X-Men.
But you proposed the question to Bing.
That's fair. That's fair.
You put Bing in a corner, and nobody puts Bing in a corner.
No one puts Bing in a corner. I apologize. But we have some topics to talk about today. We are going to give us what we talked about, what we watched, saw, what we hated. We call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll talk about those. But our main topic today is martial arts films, and that's going to be our big topic. We'll also do some news. Lance Reddick died, which is crazy. Like we were talking about him. I want to talk more about the serendipity of us talking about him and then him dying more so than anything. We'll get to that.
Yeah, that was wild.
And we will get to some AI stuff, some AI goodness. But first... let's do some good, bad, and the ugly. For those who don't know, which is everyone, because this is the first episode, we are just going to talk about our weekly things that we enjoyed. We call it the good, and bad, and the ugly. We have a nuanced one, which is the ugly. Maybe you liked something. Maybe you thought it was funny, but it wasn't intended to be funny. Maybe some external force made it change the situation, which is kind of one of my things today for the ugly. Who knows? But let's start with the goods. For me, the goods this week is Cocaine Bear. Thought it was going to be like cheesy B movie. Surprisingly good. I mean, it's still pretty, low budget, cheesy. But I enjoyed the scenes. People said there was a lot of scenes with the, just kids and humans and backstory, and they want to see more Bear. Mm-hmm. But I actually thought it was pretty well paced. And we got character actress Margot Martindale. Mm-hmm. Always good to see her. I loved her when she played, Will Ferrell's mom, and what was that movie?
Oh, you're talking about Step Brothers, right?
No, not Step Brothers.
Oh, no, that's somewhere.
Was it? Oh, shit. Who did she play? But she played Will Ferrell's mom in a movie, and she was, like, perfect in that.
Bewitched? No,
just kidding. Yes. The new one.
Kicking and screaming.
The new one.
Let's just list off terrible Will Ferrell movies, and you'll just hate me more.
Yeah. Another good for me this week was The Last of Us. I didn't play the video game.
Uh-huh.
I read a lot about it. I even watched cutscenes on YouTube. Surprisingly accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Really lean. Really lean. Like it didn't waste time whatsoever. It was in and it was out, and I really appreciated that part of the series. And there was no just fluff.
And that's surprising because you would feel that genre at this point is kind of like a bit of a labored genre of television.
Yeah.
The post-apocalyptics, not zombies but kind of zombies, but not aliens but kind of maybe zombie aliens genre or whatever it is. They're all just, there's a monster, it's kind of zombie-like, and we're all trying to survive. Here's another TV series about that.
There surprisingly wasn't a lot of zombies because that's the part of the video game where you play it typically. So it's it pretty much cut a lot of that, which
so none of the mushroom monsters.
There was some. It came when it needed to come.
Space spores.
But a lot of it didn't exist, and I was okay with that. I don't know if others are, but whatever. Who cares?
I mean, I hear good things about it. I'm not that, like I said, that whole scene is a little bit labored for me, so I'm kind of immediately withdrawn when I hear stuff about it and I see a new TV show based off of it, game or not. Plus, game as a medium for movies and television is not a guaranteed success. It's not a known quantity yet. We have some wild breakthroughs, especially with Sonic, things like that. But the track record is pretty negative. So the second they're like, it's a video game adaptation, I'm like, all right, maybe someday if I'm that desperate. But but I'm glad to hear it's good and it's holding it down. I mean, it's a very popular series. The video game's pretty cool. I also kind of get tired of that genre because I'm over the Resident Evil games as a whole and things that are close enough to that. But that might not be fair to Last of Us because it looks like it's taking on those Nathan Drake games, the Uncharted games, and it's parroting or pivoting that into a survival horror. So that's okay. That's kind of cool, and that was a good game. So the Uncharted series is great. So I don't know.
Uncharted with
oh shit, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Oh man,
did you forget about that? 2 Naughty Dog properties.
Jesus. Well, okay, that's cool. I mean, I respect that. That's a good series. I'll try it.
It's not bad. It's 9 episodes too, so it's not too long. It's 9. Nothing's usually 9. It's 6, 8, or 10 or 12 these days, right? 9 is exactly what it needed to be, so it was 9.
Circling back to Cocaine Bear, so was the CG unbearable at points? No pun intended. I don't fucking know how I did that. I hate myself.
No, it was good. It was
really?
fine. It was passable.
Okay.
All CG. I don't know if it's me because I look at CG these days and all CG just looks bad. So I just whatever. I just pass over it. Maybe I glaze over the CG, and I'm just whatever. Don't care. But I thought it was passable.
Okay.
But it's through those eyes. Keep that in mind.
That's okay. Okay, I can roll with that. I'll give it a shot because I was turned off from what I heard about the movie. I mean, CG is expensive. We know that, even bad CG. So it's there wasn't going to be much bear from the get-go because of that hurdle that they didn't want to overcome. So I'm like, I don't want to watch a Cocaine Bear movie with 10% bear.
10% bear.
I need at least an even split. Half of the screen time needs to be given to this bear. But
what is your good for the week?
My good, I would say right off the it's kind of a double that goes with the holidays. Since we're just leaving St. Patrick's Day.
Leprechaun.
Leprechaun 4, the one when he goes to space and bursts out of a dude's dick and kills him. It's true story. But Belfast. Belfast came out in 2021. It's kind of I want to say Sin City meets Schindler's List. Schindler's List because it's in black and white, also Sin City because it's in black and white, but the historical significance is appropriate to Schindler's List. The way they do the stylization and the cinematography and they get surreal with the eyes is very much like how they did it in Sin City. So the practical or the special effects and the unique cinematography is very akin to Sin City, but the black and white setting of a kind of historical turn in or historical event turn in this culture that you're getting depicted, kind of how in Schindler's List you're seeing this big change culturally. Belfast kind of has a very similar approach to how these people are adapting to that change. And that's where I kind of appreciated what it was, is it had this kind of layer between a unique like spectrum of movies that they pulled from, because the old turn of like, we're going to do a black and white movie to make it artsy, it can feel kind of lazy and phoned in. But Belfast actually was pretty good about it. And I'm not familiar with the director specifically. It was like Kenneth Branagh? Bragna? Bra? How do you say it?
Kenneth Branagh?
Branagh?
Yeah.
Okay.
He directed Thor, the Shakespeare dude. He's in, I'm trying to think. The only thing that comes to mind right now is Road El Dorado.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. See, that's... I had no idea that was who that was.
Why
I wasn't...
can't I think of Kenneth Branagh right now?
Yeah, he did a lot of... You're right, the Shakespeare-type movies like Othello, Hamlet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. And see, like, I wasn't familiar with it at all, or his work at all, so I was very excited to, like, get exposed to, like, a new aspect of, like, a director.
In terms of directing, I know he directed Thor. What else did he do?
First Thor.
First Thor, yeah.
Okay. That guy got so buried under all the nonsense of the second Thor, and then, like, Watiti taking over and Ragnarok just kind of, like, overshadowing it.
Death on the Nile. Artemis
Oh,
Fowl,
that's a good one. Okay, so I have seen some of his stuff
Murder
before.
on the Orient Express.
I've
He
seen
directed Cinderella. Weird.
the live action one.
Yeah, the live action one for Disney.
I guess that makes sense with all his work with the Shakespeare stuff.
Yeah, Thor. Let's see. As You Like. Hamlet. Midwinter's Tale. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, 1994.
Oh, is that the weird one with Robert De Niro in it?
Let's see. Yeah, I think. Who's in this bitch? Yeah, the Robert De Niro one.
Oh no, that's terrible movie.
Yeah. He's been around.
But this movie was phenomenal, and it was a perfect movie for like next time around. It would be a great like St. Patrick's Day movie just to throw on.
Right.
'Cause it's very innocent too. That's the thing, is it's very much from the perspective of a child trying to deal with the upheaval between the Protestants and the Catholics in the 1960s. I think we say 1969. And so it's wild. At one point, they just are like, "Hey, like we can't. This place is inhabitable. It isn't habitable anymore. We got to get the fuck out of here." Yeah. So you see that change for everybody. Whereas in the beginning, it's just a quaint town with people who won't know each other, and it just turns on a dime.
Right.
So that's a good one. And then my second good kind of would have to fall on that. Boondock Saints is still good. It's still good. I watch it every year on St. Patrick's Day, and that movie always delivers. I'm never sad about it.
It's been a while since I've gone back. I feel like the dialogue wouldn't hold up as well. Like the edginess that I thought was cool back in the day.
Some parts are definitely corny because of how like they kind of approach it with like, we're trying to sound tough, but then you see like him leap off a building and crush a dude with a fucking toilet. At least they rise to the occasion, and Willem Dafoe is phenomenal in that. As a character actor, he like carries the movie at points. So even with the bad dialogue, his dialogue actually is like always fine.
Right.
I mean, Willem Dafoe could say something corny and be great.
Yeah. I mean, you like dances in a crime scene in that movie.
Yeah, it's majestic. That's an old school meme before people were even memeing things. Exactly. They were like, yeah, it was a firefight. But yeah, that's my good for the week.
All right. What about your bads?
All right. The bads, I would say right off the bat, I watched God's Country. Which I don't even want to talk too much about it because it felt like it was a formulaic attempt at a movie that would have probably been even bad when it was in its heyday 2 years ago. So that's all I'll say for that. They were like a lazy attempt at like what they thought would be an Oscar bait or something in the ballpark. But no, pass on that. Pass that completely. Don't even look into it. Don't research it. Just if God's Country comes up, just be like, I'll watch something else. Now, this one that surprised me was The Boxer, 1997, I believe. Daniel Day-Lewis. It was another take on the whole IRA versus the United Kingdom, and it was not good when it came to boxing. It was not good when it came to accurate historical depiction of both sides. So it almost felt like offensive on how, like, I guess you could say false their narrative was and how much they had their own agenda in the movie, while trying to put it to the backdrop of like Daniel Day-Lewis's shoddy boxing. And it turned into a love story at one point because Daniel Day-Lewis is there. So they're like, we're going to make it also a romance. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this movie? pick a lane and try to clean up your fucking history, because this is aggressively bad. Especially, it's like one of those times where you're like, go back and watch a movie from the 90s and you're like, man, thank goodness people didn't have the internet.
Yeah, that's one of those movies. I don't think I've seen it since.
No,
then.
Panic. I was like, oh, boxing, Daniel Day-Lewis, this is great. Oh, it's dealing with like the stuff in like the United Kingdom, dealing with like the fallout of like political prisoners after they tried to close up the whole war and made it in like all just this big political shit show. I'm like, this could be cool. Nope, didn't touch on enough of that. And all the Irish people are essentially just like Disney villains. So, we'll just murder children and have no reason. Even our own children. Like, what? You just making them villains without even having a layered picture of both sides. That's a tough thing for most movies, especially from the American perspective. When we make our movies about our sides, it's always just, okay, they just tilted the narrative in our favor and they put a handicap on the people who lost, essentially. But yeah, those are my two bad for the week. Everything else I watched this week actually was pretty enjoyable, fortunately.
Nice. My bad is Shazam: Fury of the Gods. That movie. It was tired dialogue. It was a waste, especially from Lucy Liu, which was a waste of Lucy Liu, a waste of Helen Mirren. It was just generic bad guy. The wizard comes back somehow, which I missed for a second. I had to go back and figure that out. It was all over the place, and the weird thing is that in the TV spots leading up to the opening this week, it just flat out shows the after credits scene with Wonder Woman like helping out at the end, and it's like, wow, you just like gave that away in your promotions.
They're pulling a Morbius.
It's weird. I don't understand it, and the whole movie itself was just, there was barely any of the children in there, and when they were in there, they're like,
they didn't bring the family together again?
They're all older now, so it's all weird.
Yep.
Yeah. So
kids age fast.
All the family scenes were with the Shazam versions, It was barely the kids itself. The best parts of the film were actually like the family stuff and them doing stuff together as a family, which was barely in there. Yeah, generic fights. I'm trying to think of anything else positive.
Who was the villain?
To say, it was the Greek gods. I forget, but it was Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu.
Are the Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu play the Greek gods?
I think it was the Greek, not the Greek. What are it's? Oh my God, what are their characters? I barely give a. I don't even.
I've been there. I know what you mean. Where there's those characters, or there's these movies that make you so apathetic that you're like, I'm not even following the story anymore.
They're people that do things in the world. Those people. Let's see. So they play. Lucy Liu play Calypso.
Oh, okay.
And Helen Mirren plays Hespera. Yeah, those are Greek gods.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Greek gods. They're all like the wizard stole my powers from my daddy, and now you have them, so you bad. And that's the movie.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, they lose their powers, they gain their powers, people die, people return. Not much happening, I must say, unfortunately. There was a good moment in it where everyone was, all of them were there as the Shazam version except for Pedro, who lost his powers, and they pretty much they showed up and they told their parents that they were the superheroes. Oh. And then they're all like, all right, we'll tell them on 3 our secrets. And then, like, they told them that they were superheroes, except for Pedro. He's just like, I'm gay.
Oh, wow.
Which they hinted to at the beginning because he's just watching, like, gay porn earlier, which I thought was pretty funny. They're like, oh, gay porn in a superhero movie. All right. Cool. It was good. And they just look at him and they're like, yeah, we know. And then they just move on.
Yeah. All right.
Good moments like that. The very few and far between though in that movie, and I would definitely not recommend seeing that film.
That's unfortunate. The first Shazam was such a good movie.
It was one of the better
DC
films.
movies. Yeah.
And
you said the Wonder Woman was the only cameo?
Wonder Woman was a cameo, and then there's another cameo with the. Dr. Savannah at the end.
Oh,
just
jeez.
Older, and then the worm's there. He's just like, more time. I wonder if they're just gonna keep bringing him back and just like, no, more time. You just see him just getting older.
Just minding him.
Just what do you? Yeah, he's just hanging out, chilling. not really doing anything. He'll never make a comeback, but he's just chilling. They always show him in the jail cell, just hanging out.
Oh, it's such a weird like trope now that they do in a lot of these, where they're like, "Oh, here's another after credit scene with some important guy in a jail cell."
But yeah, and then the other after credit scene was what's it?
The stuff with Wonder Woman you were talking
Stuff
about.
with Wonder Woman with essentially Billy Batson dies, and they need a god to bring him back, and she's the only god.
What? That's
dumb.
Well, then remember Wonder Woman? We're like, I don't want to be reminded about her yet. Let's give that more time. That movie was bad. I mean, was this movie better than Wonder Woman 84?
Oh, okay. You know, it's more forgettable. Like, Wonder Woman was so bad in a way that I don't think I'll forget it. Whereas Shazam, it's gonna just pass through me like Taco Bell.
Okay, so they're turning into they're definitely copying the Marvel movies now, because they're just trying to be as like run of the mill, forgettable, mediocre, like cultural events. Most of the old Marvel movies, those were cultural events. When those would go off,
yeah,
it would be pretty like, important for everyone to check them out. Now people are like, what was the last one I watched? What the fuck was that even about? Who? Shang-Chi. Yeah, they fought. It's like, that's it. Well, that sucks, because I remember looking at the trailer for the new Shazam, and I was like, this ain't looking good. I'm not excited about this at all.
It was, unfortunate.
Well, we still got another Aquaman in the pipe, right?
Oh, no. Let's move on. My ugly for the week is Operation Fortune. Now, everything about it I loved, except for some of Aubrey Plaza's. I could take or leave her in that role. But the reason it's in my ugly category is because, for some reason, happened 2 times. Keep falling asleep.
Oh,
same point too.
Oh, you know what?
Right about where they meet. What's his name's character? Oh shit.
Jason Statham?
No, the English guy, the rich dude.
The rich English. Oh, you're talking about Oh my goodness, he got busted soliciting a prostitute in the 90s.
Yes.
He was in.
He's in all the romance movies.
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant's character. And
He's in Mickey Blue Eyes.
when they got Josh Hartnett to essentially go and hang out with him, it's like right at that point, every time, fall asleep.
Their character dynamic and relationship was one of the best parts of the movies, about how Josh Hartnett had this crush on like Hugh Grant as like an idol, as like what he wanted to be. So he like doted on him the entire time, where he's just like, this guy's so cool. Yeah. And then that twist with the end, and like how his career kind of followed him as like a, I guess you could say, inspiration for acting. Like he models now his like acting around that real life Hugh Grant character. But yeah, that's kind of surprising that this movie wasn't better in like its energy. It was low energy. It was a very low energy movie compared to like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Like that's a spy movie that Guy Ritchie did, and that was amazing energy through the beginning to end, and the characters had a better chemistry. You're right, Aubrey Plaza didn't fit in that group, nor does she fit in really any action or like psychological thriller kind of movie. So she just kind of, she's niched herself out. She's typecasted at this point, I feel.
She has a good agent, I think.
Yeah.
I think she just has a really good agent. It's like Jai Courtney. It's like, why are you still around? I assume his agent is amazing.
That's fair. That's very possible, because I couldn't understand how Guy Ritchie wanted to put her in this movie, and I didn't understand why he didn't cut back her roles after like watching like maybe the first quarter of the movie and seeing the chemistry land flat. I mean, I love Guy Ritchie. Like some of his movies, he's like, in my opinion, the English version of Tarantino. Like the way he uses music, the way he reuses the same actors and kind of builds a good chemistry. Like he knows how to use Jason Statham very well.
Yes.
Revolver is my favorite Guy Ritchie movie, and it's got Jason Statham with hair. It's fucking crazy. It's a movie about chess. Under 3000's in it. Check it out. but yeah, this movie didn't work as well. I've actually like The Gentleman was probably better, and The Wrath of Man. Both those were more captivating than this. This was kind of a weaker Guy Ritchie movie.
I definitely enjoyed Gentleman.
It was good. Fucking McConaughey worked in that setting with those people, and Guy Ritchie's like go-to cast. he was a good complement to that approach.
But it doesn't hold up against Aladdin. What a movie by Guy Ritchie.
See, this is it.
No?
It's
No, you
so
don't
weird.
like it?
This is this weird thing that keeps happening. It's just like what we were talking about before, where it's like, oh, he did Cinderella, the live action one, and you're like, oh, and then Guy Ritchie did the Aladdin one, and there's all these famous directors doing these movies that are just like shot for shot remakes
You can throw money
of
at
nothing.
people. You can
Yeah.
throw money at people.
We like your name. We want your name on the billboard with the movie because there's nothing else coming to this movie except it's a remake. And maybe if people think your twist is getting put into it, they'll be like, okay, oh, you tricked me again. But it's like they've done that 9 times. Like at this point, people have to be wise to.
Right.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what the last like Disney remake was.
It's Little Mermaid's coming out soon.
Oh, I thought that already came out, but okay.
I think it's like
They'll probably
soon,
do another Milan as well. They know
Who
their market they're
knows?
chasing.
Who knows? What about you? What is your ugly?
All right, my ugly. That's easy. I watched Kingpin again for the first time in about, gosh, I want to say almost like 10 years.
It's been that, yeah.
Yeah. And it holds up. It's a good movie,
Okay.
but it's definitely visually an ugly movie. And I mean, like, some of the things that they show in the movie are still very cringeworthy and very uncomfortable. And there's some
Things with the old lady, I remember.
things with the old lady,
Gross.
some just some mishaps with fluids and like vomiting and things that people drinking too much, bad tattoos.
The scene with Randy Quaid flossing and the chunks.
Randy
going
Quaid.
out.
Oh yeah, that was bad. The nipples with Randy Quaid when he goes and gets the yep. Bill Murray is very ugly in it, but in a good way. Like his character is the best. This is Bill Murray's best movie. I'm saying it right now. No, he plays. It's not Bill Murray's best movie, but he is the best character in this movie.
Yes.
Which makes me think he is an asshole in real life because he plays an asshole so well.
Yeah.
He really. Oh my gosh, it's like that moment where his hair is sweaty and just like his comb over is like flopping.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ugly movie, but it's good still. It's
an ugly
but it's
movie.
ugly fucking movie. And honestly, it's what's a Farley Brothers, right? So this was what they said was like one of their hardest worked on movies. But I don't know. It seems like people liked It's Something About Mary or Something About Mary
Yeah.
better. Like that seems like that was more commercially successful. But cult wise, I think this is definitely where it's at.
Did this come out first before?
No, I think it was after.
Oh.
This was after, I believe. Let's see, it was 96 and wasn't... Oh, no, it was before. It was before. Because this is the first appearance of the guitarist and drummer that are in It's Something About Mary.
Yeah.
Those guys show up for the first time in this movie when
Hanging out,
they go to
yeah.
a bar and they're there playing. And that's weird because they're like in a shared universe.
Mm-hmm.
So this is their cult following. The other one was where their success really came.
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie's ugly, but it's still good. People should watch it.
I should go check that out.
Rewatch it, man. It's funny.
Check it out.
It's fucking hilarious.
All right. Cool. Let's move on. You like Iron Maiden, Danny?
Mm-hmm.
You like Iron Maiden?
I very much do.
Let's
I'm very, very
turn
into the
your
Maiden.
attention to the screen.
Okay.
As we watch this
All right.
TikTok
All right.
video. You ready for this?
All right. Let's do
Here
this.
we go. I'm gonna pause it every once in a while.
Okay, so
Oh man.
this is the outfit I wore today. It's very cute. We can all agree it's a vibe.
Can we agree that it's a vibe?
Yeah, I guess. You sure? I mean, if she's using vibe and as like a replacement for the word style or just like a clothing like approach, fashion style, like, then yeah, sure.
Okay.
Anyway, somebody asked me today, a man, of course it was, asked me, can you even name 3 songs by Iron Maiden? Which, it's 2023. I can't believe we're still doing this. But he did, so I looked him dead in the face and I went, I don't think they're a real band. I think it's just from that teenage dirtbag TikTok trend.
Teenage
Not a real band.
dirtbag.
Do you know the
TikTok
teenage
trend.
dirtbag TikTok trend?
No.
I have no idea what this is either.
I was just to say that's a real thing, but Iron Maiden's not a real band. And that's unfortunate. She couldn't name like 3 songs because there's like so many that like pop culturally show up in movies and television in the background or just like are referenced all the time. I don't know. It's weird. But I guess it makes sense. People are very quick to like digest music and move on these days. Most art doesn't have longevity. They don't want it.
And his face. It gets better. So then he was like, no, it's a real band. Like, it's a real metal band that's on your t-shirt. And like, I don't think you should wear the t-shirt if you don't know their music or whatever. And I was like, that is so cool. They're probably gonna like blow up now that they're popular on TikTok.
They're probably going to blow up now that they're popular on TikTok, Danny.
Is she serious? Yeah, and she's like, I almost feel like she's being like snide. She's a little snarky.
One of the coolest
like she's fucking
TikTok,
around.
always shining light on unknown artists.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's so cool. Is she being sarcastic? Is she being or is she being genuine?
I don't know, but that's the kind of girl, like, if she dressed like that back in the day when I was in high school, like, I'd be like, this girl's amazing. And now if I'd see it, I would definitely be suspect. I definitely would just take one look, especially her hair color. I'd be like, you don't look like the kind of girl I would get along with. But cool. Good for you for at least being a biological construct billboard for Iron Maiden. Like, if people, people don't know, but they're still showing and repping the band, then that's getting them out there, And teenage dirtbag TikTokers gotta have some purpose, and if getting the word out about Iron Maiden is what they do, then good on them. Good on them.
Good on them.
Good on them.
Teenage dirtbag TikTokers.
Yeah.
Proud of you guys. Let's talk about the news. Oh, were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say, and real quick, Run to the Hills, Fear of the Dark, and Invaders. Let's just there's three.
Go.
Those are the best.
That was quick. See, that's how you answer a question.
I wanted to end on that because it was bothering me. I was like, well, that's what I would have said. I would have just said that and moved on. I see your face, dude, and then walked away. I earned this T-shirt.
All right, let's talk about the news quickly today. One entertainment news, one tech news topic. First one, Lance Reddick passed away.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy because we were literally just talking about him. We were watching Corporate.
Yeah, I just threw it on randomly.
Yeah.
And then he just died. He just put it on, and then, like, that day he died. It's like, it's in the hive mind, the cultural hive mind, and I absorbed it somehow through my just ether. I don't know.
Crazy. So his last film will be John Wick Chapter 4. He is in that. Plays the concierge in all the John Wick movies. Mm-hmm. He's in Corporate. He was Alan Rails, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my!
And Rick and Morty.
That's true. That's true. He was. Oh no! Oh, but he's dead. So I guess they won't be bringing him back.
Yeah. Godzilla vs. Kong, he was in there. What was he in that movie?
That's true. Oh, man. God,
But yeah, he's...
what a terrible...
He's a pretty good character actor. He was, until, like, last week, I was just like that one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And now that, like, we talked about him and he died in the same week, I will definitely remember his name.
Yeah. It's such a bizarre coincidence. Yeah. And I just wanted something to fill time while we waited for Rob to show up. And I was like, yeah, let's put in some episodes of Corporate. And we marathoned it for a bit. And then he died. I was like, okay, I guess it was appropriate. At least he was relevant when he died for us. Like, it's like, think about people who died. You're like, oh, they haven't been culturally relevant in a movie or in anything for a long time. It's like, we literally just watched something with him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, that sucks. Yeah, the character actors like that are far and few in between these days. So. Because he could pull the look off, but then also have range in his comedy and seriousness. And that's not normal. Normally, they're like, we can either do the look or we could do the other thing, but we're not going to give you both. You get a lot of these vapid actors that are just there as props and not like actual conversational pieces.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Moving on. Let's talk about some AI stuff, Danny. ChatGPT 4 is here. It is pretty awesome what we can do with AI these days. With ChatGPT 4, which is not released to the public yet, it could essentially ingest images, videos.
Audio, and maintain relationships.
Maintain relationships. So get this out. So they have an internal version at OpenAI of it where it handles and ingests images and all these things. And it was given a task. I gotta look this up again.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially was given a task to do something and on the internet, and it was essentially there was a capture that came up. So the capture came up. It went to, I believe, TaskRabbit, and it paid a human to solve the capture for it, so it could get through the capture.
That's you know what?
That
That
makes-
is fucking amazing.
That pretty much makes captures irrelevant. I think that's a pretty good use case for that.
True.
Which is crazy.
True, but also the fact that it was able to branch out of its functionality and take something that it doesn't knowingly know that it's interacting with a living person to get this accomplished, but the fact that it went down that avenue and utilized it was amazing of its own volition.
Yeah. Chat GPT-3 was barely able to pass the bar exam. Chat GPT-4 could pass in the 90th percentile. So I think that's like 90% or higher.
What the fuck? That's amazing.
Right?
That's just, it's either telling of like a flaw in the inherent system of how the test is made, or a testament to the evolution of ChatGPT and what it was setting out from what it was originally designed for.
Yeah. The cooler thing this week also is that Microsoft's on fire these days. They released essentially ChatGPT 4 built into Office 365. So say you have this giant data set in Excel, you could go to ChatGPT and say like, all right, what it has the highest percentage of use, and it'll like look through. Say if you have a giant Excel document full of thousands and thousands and thousands of just items, it could like talk to you and be like, yeah, this is what you're looking for. It looks like this is like kind of the average.
It becomes like a digital curator for you. This is great. Yeah,
Yeah.
No, that would save a lot of time,
It would
because
save so
yeah,
much
thumbing
time.
through all that stuff can be so time consuming.
Apparently, because it's built in like
Tiring.
365, it's also built into, what is it again? Hangouts? No,
Okay.
Meetings. What's the Microsoft one?
Fuck. I used to know it.
But essentially, like, it could be able to, like, if you're late for a
Don't they have
meeting.
Skype? Didn't they buy Skype?
They did, and then they killed it, and then they made their own thing.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
why I can't remember it then. I was
Yeah.
like, I thought it was Skype.
I think it's Meetings.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's called
It's either that or Google had
Meet?
something like that.
Microsoft Meet.
Yeah,
Something like that.
it's terrible.
It could like inform you of like meeting notes, what's happening. It can sum up based off of what people are saying. It like literally takes all the audio and like summarizes it.
Oh, so it's like a
from
note
the meeting.
taker. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Pretty crazy stuff.
That's cool.
We're utilizing it on the website. You may or may not read some topics that are generated from an AI, which is good. We're not gonna give you like a personal opinion that's sandwiched between 3 ads,
Yeah.
And
Oh my
then-
gosh.
and then like give you the data that you have to scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. You know,
It's that
Let's-
algorithm, man. It's
we'll
just
tell-
you're like, you could blurb this up in like 3 sentences, and they're like, yeah, but we got to get to the top of Google's like algorithm. So
Yeah.
here's like 9 paragraphs to explain like 2 sentences worth of
it's
information.
unfortunate. There's so
Like,
much.
I just want to know a
bullshit
little bit
because
about
of
this
that.
video game, and you made me fucking read a book.
Yes,
Fuck you.
since Google incentivized all its, or since YouTube incentivized all its users to hit the 10-minute mark to actually make money and monetize their videos, that's why you have so much bullshit now.
Oh.
Of just people talking for no reason. They're trying to hit that 10-minute mark.
They're just like politicians, where it's just like, okay, yeah, you said a lot, but no substance. But you did say a
time.
lot.
Wasting so much time, but Google could say we have billions and billions of hours of users,
Yeah.
use watches or whatever.
What's
Good
the
for
metric
you.
of quality on
You
that?
wasted life, yeah. Congrats on just wasting more life,
Yeah.
Google. You excited for robots, Danny?
Of course. Why wouldn't I be? Why the fuck? I've seen what humanity's had to offer. Let's see what robots got to
I
offer.
genuinely think in like 2 to 3 years we'll have. It might be expensive, but we'll have a Jarvis. Like that's what essentially the Amazons and the Google what are the home speakers want to be. They're not there yet. This is going to make them there.
Once they hit the point of the robot companion that you can fuck, the social paradigm will shift so dramatically. It's going to be fucking
It's gonna be
hilarious.
exciting.
It's like the weird shit when COVID happened. You saw these weird like paradigm shifts. That's going to be like one that ripples across all of society in such a fucking massive way. Like the way people like build their lives, the things that they look for in relationships, like all that will change. All that will change. The popularity, like people who were popular will no longer be relevant or popular. They'll be replaced by robots. Sex robot.
Sex robots everywhere. It's going to be frustrating because you're going to run down and you're going to be like, all right, I got to take my AI. I got to authenticate it through my new AI robot. And then you go to log into your robot and it's just like the servers are down because it's cloud-based. Nothing's local anymore. And you're just like, I just want to fuck my robot right now. I can't log in. What do I do? Fuck you, Facebook.
Damn it. This is bullshit. I guess I'll go get catfish 9 times and maybe get laid. Oh, that's unfortunate. It's like those people with the Tesla cars and they're waiting for the updates and they can't drive their car.
Dude, so
scary.
When I rented the Tesla, there's no trunk latch. You got to go under the fucking monitor, under settings.
Oh.
Push, not trunk, sorry, glove box.
Okay.
Glove box latch, you know.
Okay.
It's just so hard to open a glove box. I got to go through menus.
Yeah,
click glove box open. And then it opens.
It's right there. And you're like, I could have just pulled this back. And they're like, no. We got it. We made it esoteric. This is fun.
Is form over function to the max right there.
Yeah, that's scary.
Geez. It's not. No. We're overthinking it. Cars don't. Cars and technology are a little scary.
As long as Tesla doesn't design the sex robot, you got to push on the menu, open vagina.
All right, let's move on to the main topic of the week. We are talking martial arts films. That is right. We love martial arts films. I grew up on martial arts films. The RZA grew up on martial arts films, which inspired this. He just did an interview where he did his top martial arts films, and we said, hey, I could do that. I could do that thing that you're doing right there on the monitor. I could do that in a mic and do it back to people.
I could stuff that thing and thing that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we're here today. We're talking about our top 5 martial arts films. And it's not really the top 5. It's just more top. I treat it more like this is a very impactful, like what has impacted me throughout the years.
Like personal list.
Personal, and there's a lot of things that I didn't add to this list that are amazing.
Yeah, because they're not the top 5 best martial arts films. They're your top 5 favorite martial arts films.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's kick this off. I'm gonna start off. I'll start off. I'm gonna be bold. I'll jump. I'll take the jump. I'll do the kickflip off of the 3 steps. I'm only 10, but I could do this. I'm ready.
All right. He's gonna do it.
Number 5. Number 5. Now, the reason it's on this list is, one, you introduced me to this film.
Oh,
I want to say that.
I'm excited.
I would say there's so many other films in this genre that if I were to have watched it earlier, like I did these other films, I might have not been on this list because you introduced it at a weird time, it worked and it's very memorable and it's on this list now, and that is The Master of the Flying Guillotine. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I really enjoyed this film. I don't know how I missed it. You introduced it like 12 years, I think, something like that.
Long time ago. Yeah.
And this one just completely flew by me, and I enjoyed every minute of it. It was exciting. The martial arts was great. I enjoyed the ridiculousness of his hat that literally cuts off heads. It like traps your head and then it rips it off. It's great. That's like a great cheesy effect that worked so well for its time. I enjoyed that. The funniest thing, I don't think they intended it to be funny. I think they intended it to be incredibly racist. Was the part where he's just all like, "You, Chinese man, I will fight you with honor. You, Japanese man, I will fight you with honor. Filipino man, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you piece of shit, you piece of shit brown man."
That still probably wasn't the most racist thing. The Indian man was in blackface. He was in blackface the whole time. He's and there's one of the competitors is not even a martial artist. He's a Japanese sailor. Did you notice that the dude with the fish hook? Yeah. He was just a Japanese sailor, because there was a Japanese karate guy that kind of looked like Raiden, and he was like an actual. They treated him like a legitimate character with like depth. The other guy was just like the Japanese sailor. It's just like versus Muay Thai master. It's like, what the fuck? I'm so blown away. I don't want any spoilers, so I don't want to load yet. That might also be on my list.
That may or may not be on his list. All right. All right.
But I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoyed this film. Came out in 1976, and like I said, I only watched it 12 years ago. Directed by
Jimmy Wang. Jimmy fucking Wang. Jimmy Wang uses his whole name, but he predominantly goes by Jimmy Wang, and he is a fucking just powerhouse when it comes to his lineage in the martial arts. He's done several movies. This movie is actually a sequel. Is a sequel to The One-Armed Boxer. The One-Armed Boxer. And you can watch this movie without having seen it, because there are parts where they have flashbacks to it, and they look weird, and they're in like lower quality, and you're just like, they also black and white it as like a dream effect, which is good, but the quality is so noticeable. And if you go back to watch the original, it's like, oh wow, the quality was just bad. It wasn't that they were like recutting it into their movie. You're like, oh, they actually gained a lot of special effects and a lot of film advancement by the time they made Master of the Flying Guillotine. One-Armed Boxer's good. I love the One-Armed Boxer, but it's like the special effects in that are like a dude inflates his stomach with like a fucking air compressor, and he's like, "Look at me, I'm all bouncy." And
it's just weird. I saw the One-Armed Boxer back in the day, but I never went and saw Master of the Flying Guillotine.
Jimmy Wang likes to do a lot of these movies with the one-arm type character, because he also does the One-Armed Swordsman, which is a 2-part series as well. Yeah, it's not as good, but it's good still, because Jimmy Wang he gets all in on his. Just like his weird ideas. Like, I mean, I'll talk about it more when we get around to it on my end, but it's like this movie is like a cornerstone of like so many martial arts tropes in that kung fu genre that will become like staples moving forward. That like, everything takes from this movie. Everything that is modern after it.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. I loved it. I enjoyed every minute of it. I go back every once in a while and watch parts of it. So, number 5. What's your number 5?
Oh, that's easy, man. Surf Ninjas. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, shit.
No, I wanted to like hit you with like a fake list where I was going to be like, Surf Ninjas, the remake of Karate Kid, fucking Rocky Balboa, fucking Volcano High, and just like terrible shit. But I'm like, and then Surf Ninjas. But Surf Ninjas is legit. No. My number 5 is On Bak Muay Thai Warrior. The Tony Jaa joint. On Bak is one of those martial arts movies that is unique because it's not focused heavily out of mainland China. It's not coming out of Japan. And it's not one of those martial arts styles that are traditionally focused on in a particular martial arts movie that's mainstream.
Throwing them elbows.
Elbows and knees all day. Muay Thai boxing, like the kickboxing of their native homeland, is so integral to how those people live, how they worship, how they carry themselves throughout their lives. Yeah. So it's like this character was the embodiment of that spirit and that stuff coming out of Thailand at that time, because a lot of MMA stuff and movies were starting to pick up about Muay Thai. Yeah. And then that had not been touched since like the late 80s, early 90s with a lot of stuff with Jean-Claude Van Damme. So that's like the resurgence of that with Tony Jaa being so phenomenal in that movie. He became like a Jackie Chan, Donnie Yen martial arts action star in his own right after this movie. And I remember seeing it for the first time. My buddy showed it to me. Actually, Max and Dwayne. Max showed it. Okay. And we sat down and they're like, wait till you see the knee bomb. And the whole time through the movie, I was like, was that the knee bomb? And they're like, you'll know. You'll wait, And then at the end, when he like jumps in the air, pulls both of his legs back, and he knees a guy through a wooden plank into the ground. It's such a good fucking movie when it comes to fighting and physical art. But what made me love the movie is the fact that there's so many variations of it. You can watch it in its original dubbing in its native language, and you would be like, okay, this isn't that funny. There's nothing. It's very by the book. It feels very straightforward martial arts translated movie with subtitles. But then you put the dub on, and the people who dub it are like popular anime voice actors.
Yeah.
And so you recognize them, and they're like dubbing real life people in this like over the top action movie, and it just makes it so much greater. It's like you could watch two different movies. That's the beauty of Onbok, is it's literally 2 for 1 if you follow like the main dub and the original sub. I love Onbok so much. And I'm gonna take a swing at this. I always fuck up this name, but the director of the movie is Parachaya Pinko.
Yeah, Thai names are so hard.
Yeah, no.
Parachaya.
Parachaya Pinko,
Yeah.
I believe. And the only other stuff he's done, which is more Tony Jaa stuff, is the Tom Yuk-gun, which is in American they fucking rebranded as the Protector because the Jackie Chan Protector movie is popular, and they were like, "Fuck it, Asian guys," and I'm like, "You motherfucker." It's like, so that those movies have nothing to do with each other, but Tom Yuk-gun 1 and 2 are both very good. If you like Ong Bak, like watch all those. They're all on the server. They're all great. But yeah, that's my number 5. I mean, that one was one where like the martial arts really felt painful, really painful. Like when he would elbow and kick people.
Like especially to the face and to the skull. The sound effects that they used were perfect.
Yeah, a lot of the punches when you throw them in like a lot of martial arts movies, it doesn't look painful and it looks like they're doing choreography. Whereas this, it's like he would push his arm into people, he would push his knee into people, so you would see the force. It's great. But that's number 5. That one has stayed with me, and that made Thailand to be forced to be reckoned with in the martial arts cinema industry.
Ong Bak was on in the running for my number 2 spot.
Oh.
Did not make it.
Fair enough. And the trilogy too. There's 3 on box.
3 Ong Baks.
Impressive.
Yeah. And it was a simple story. It was just like dude tries to find his golden Buddha head.
Yeah, they get stolen from his village. They sent him out. They put all the money together to kind of get him to go out. It's you get kind of choked up sometimes in the movie if you watch it in its original subtitle score. Yeah. The dub, it's impossible. You're just like, it's funny as shit. Oh, fuck, he just nailed him in the face. Good balance of comedy and action. Yeah. But yeah, Onbak, number 5, solid for sure.
Nice.
I'll always remember that.
All right, let's move on to number 4 for me is, I love this film. I watched it probably like 20 times as a child. And it was probably one of my earlier Jackie Chan films that I've watched.
I'm excited.
This is one of he's here a couple times.
Oh, okay.
He's here how many times? He's here more than once, I'll say that.
All right.
1980 film.
Oh shit.
Something about this film I love. Its simplicity. It's like crudeness. Like the film itself, it looks very cheap. It looks like it's something from the 70s, even though it's 1980.
Mm-hmm. City Hunter. No, I'm just kidding. That would be such a twist.
But no, this movie is The Big Brawl, also known as Battle Creek Brawl.
Yeah, that's a fucking brilliant. Oh my god, that's a good Jackie Chan movie.
It's super unique. It takes place in like the early 40s, I want to say.
Yeah, it's a very, very like men in suits, men wearing nice hats, well dressed, martial arts.
And it's essentially mob boss is looking for a fighter to help beat this one dude that's really tough, and that's the whole kind of idea.
Yeah, he's brought in as a ringer.
Jackie Chan comes in and fights the tournament. Before he fights the tournament, there's just like a Jackie Chan hanging out with his girlfriend and hanging out with his uncle. His uncle is Mako. Rest in peace, Mako. I love Mako so much. Especially that scene where he's like training and Mako is just kind of like hanging out, and then he plays around and he's dancing, and then he makes him fight him, and he's fighting with the cane at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that's an integral scene because it establishes that like even though he's silly and weird, it's like he's actually a force to be reckoned with.
Exactly. Yeah. And it sets up the character great. Yeah, everything about this was, and it had that like slapstick element that I love about Jackie Chan.
His comedic background, from his
tripping, he's
gymnastics
falling,
and stunts.
Like he's accidentally hitting people with like plates and everything. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. And I've seen this so many times. I just watched it again like a couple days ago.
Nice.
It's great. It holds up. A lot of Asian racism.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like that, What are you gonna do? It's a movie about the 40s.
Yeah,
Jackie Chan.
it's just saying. It's gonna be analogistic as fuck. They're not gonna pull punches.
Yeah.
But it's very much like the design of the cover and the name feels like they were harkening back to like the design and stylization of the Bruce Lee movies. So it's like, but then it has the Jackie Chan kind of comedy peppered into it. But the fight scenes were very, very much reminiscent of like a Bruce Lee movie. This is a good one. That's a good choice. That's a very underappreciated Jackie Chan joint right there.
It is.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. All right.
That one didn't get like the American treatment like a lot of the other ones did. The redubbing, the fucking 10-year re-release.
What's your number 4?
Okay, my number 4 is The Raid Redemption.
Wow.
Yeah. This is the most modern movie on my list. The Raid Redemption is such a brutal powerhouse of martial arts being shown off in a tight but also practical setting. I mean, there's no tournament, there's no competition. It's literally just martial arts being used for the sake of survival. And that's all we're getting from the Raid Redemption is like these guys have to survive. And so they're going to fight by any means. It reminds me a lot of like Jeet Kune Do with the Jet Li, where it's like people are going for eyes, people are going for throats, people are going for your temple.
Some CQC.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like they're good gunfighting. There's good, and this is a weird thing where I thought when we were making this list, I was like, do I want to put like gun fu? Like, do I want to have a lot of John Woo type stuff? And then I thought about Raid Redemption. I was like, you know what, that kind of overcomes it because they do a lot of gun fu kind of martial arts and things like that. But predominantly, there are parts where they're just fighting hand to hand, and they're just two guys throwing down, no weapons, just two guys fighting in a room, trying to battle each other, bloody. Had been fighting already 5-10 different times throughout the entire fight or entire movie. So it's just that's a very brutal and realistic approach to like prolonged fighting. Whereas a lot of these other movies, especially the older, like we're talking Jean-Claude Van Damme, it's like that dude will fight like 40 people and he'll be like, "Yeah, I look great." It's like you've been punched, you got cut. You just like dried blood on you. How's that possible? Whereas this is by the end of the movie, they look like they went through something. And it inspired a lot of movies. Like the Judge Dredd movie, literally like 2-3 years later came out and was like an Americanized version of The Raid. And I really appreciate that movie for not only being another unique one that's not out of fucking Japan, not out of mainland China or anything like that, not out of Hong Kong. It's like there's Indonesian, right? If I'm not.
Yeah, Indonesian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an Indonesian martial arts thriller. Like what other Indonesian movies do you know that are dope martial arts like thrillers like that are memorable like that? I mean, they've come out with a lot of martial arts movies since then, but that this one is like the only one that I remember, and it was Iko Uwais. He went on. He was in the second. They made a sequel, and then I think they have another movie that's by the director, which is Garth Evans. I was not expecting Garth Evans to be the director. He's actually quite like known in like the global in the English circuit for like some older like movies that weren't as good as any of his later stuff.
Yeah, Iko Uwais and like Yayan Ruhian. I think I'm butchering these names, but they were also had and were poorly utilized in Star Wars. Remember that scene where they showed up? They were in what was the Force Awakens? When they met on Han Solo's ship and they were that like crew like.
Oh shit!
That was the raid team.
Oh,
that was all them.
Fuck! I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, underutilized as fuck in that.
That's unfortunate because like this was a movie that kind of like opened up their career to the entire world, and for it to kind of like hit that point where it's like, oh, you made a Star Wars, but now you're like, you fell flat. You're like a bad cameo. Like I could think of cameos that were better than that. But yeah, this movie is great, and I like the Indonesian like film racket now when it comes to like crime martial arts cinema. Like Jailbreak, I don't think has him in it, but I'm not sure if it's the same director, but it's the same kind of movie. And it has that kind of vibe where it's like, all right, we get in and we fight our way out. And it's surprising they even made a sequel to The Raid, which wasn't as good, but still good.
It was darker.
And it was much more.
People like actually two more from my my experience.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
To me, it didn't feel like there was. It felt more surreal, like it was like parody of itself. And they were like, because of that darkness to it, they're like, ooh, it's way more extreme now. It's like the fucking Batman revamp. You get the Brett Ratner treatment.
Oh, God. God.
No, it's like not that bad, but
No.
still, like it gave me like kind of that where I'm like, ooh, it's fucking a metal version of Raid Redemption. Look how dark and spiky they are. But no, yeah, it's still a good movie. It's still a good movie. I don't want to clown on it. It's just the first one was so impactful. It blew me away. I was like, this is an Indonesian martial arts movie that I didn't ever expect, and I rewatched it just a few days ago, and it's still great. Still breathtaking. The characters are still enjoyable. The plot to it is still like palpable enough, even though still kind of silly. But then again, it's Indonesian politics, Indonesian laws, crime, people, society. Like that's things that are kind of foreign to me. So seeing it play out, I'm like, well, their lives could be like that. These people could live these ways. And I looked into some of it, and I was like, oh damn, Indonesia's rough.
This is on my list.
Raid?
Yep.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Wait.
So.
Well, what's your next one?
All right, we're going to number. So we're on the three.
Yeah, 3.
All right. I thought about this one. I thought
Wait, what was your 4?
The Big Brawl.
Oh, the Big Brawl. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then 5 was Master of the Flying Guillotine.
Flying Guilty. Okay.
Yeah. So number 3.
Okay.
I thought about this hard. I was thinking about making it Hero for a little bit.
Oh, Hero with Dustin Hoffman from the 90s? No, I'm just kidding.
Of course. But what I ended up going with was the movie My Father is My Hero, also known in America as Jet Li's The Enforcer.
Oh, damn, son.
So this one was another film that I just watched the shit out of as a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a weird, it's half martial arts film, half Hong Kong action like police thriller.
Yeah.
Because it's about essentially Jackie Chan's Jet Li and his son, essentially, and his story's parallel. He's not hanging out with his kid. His kid went to a martial arts tournament and won, but he wasn't there because he was like taking down like a big crime boss at work and stuff. And it's like kind of like one of those like inside job type of things. He's trying to figure out what's happening inside the force. But the entire film is just Jet Li fucking people up, trying to figure out, because eventually they kidnap his son, and he's trying to get back his son, and it's just Jet Li. It is like a Hong Kong version of Taken, I feel, almost in many ways. The best part about this film at the end is he ties his son up to a rope. He finds his son, he gets his son back, and he ties his son up to a rope, and he just yo-yos his son. Like, he throws his son at a dude, and the kid kicks the dude, and then he pulls him back, and it's so cheesy, and it's awesome. I love it so much, and he's just yo-yoing his kid around. He's like swinging his kid.
I remember that scene, actually. Yeah, I remember the choreography from it, because the kid's like, it goes very limp, and he looks almost like a weapon, because of how like lifeless he gets while he's being flung around. It's bizarre. That's like a buried gem though of a Jet Li joint. Like that's not even like surface area pop culture Jet Li. No. That's like people have to dig for that one.
Yeah.
That's like the high risk Jet Li where he was wearing that yellow spandex suit that Bruce Lee used to wear all the time. It was like his modern like take on that. He has like a lot of those movies.
Yes.
Oh gosh, there's so many from the 90s. He didn't break out until like really 2000s in my opinion as like a global star.
Anita Mui was also
the woman who's in a lot of the Jackie Chan movies. She was that pop star, died very young in the 2000s, and then they have a bronze statue of her in Beijing,
Hong Kong.
or Hong Kong. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they have that crazy. It's like so tragic how young she died too. She was 40.
Yeah, pretty young. I think it was cancer.
Legend of the Drunken Master. Oh yeah, it was like a tumor. She did Legend of the Drunken Master, and then like 6 years later was dead. This is wild.
Unfortunate.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunate. But yeah, this one was great. I enjoyed it. I wanted to go back and watch it. I didn't. I wasn't able to because it might not hold up. I don't know. But I'm going to
You got to take that plunge
I'm
sometimes.
going to keep it in my mind and say it still holds up. I'm going to say it holds up.
I get scared about that, but then I think there's so many good movies that sometimes it's okay to filter out things that don't hold up because I'll still have too much.
It's true.
That's good.
But this is like my Jet Li choice.
It's a good Jet Li choice.
Yeah. All right. What's your number 3?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have any Jet Li choices on mine. I kind of backed away from putting Unleashed, also known as Danny the Dog, on. That's or the Fearless. Those are real good, or the one. But no, my number 3, a more profound movie. a more deep political dividing movie. I'm talking Jim Kata.
Oh my god, he's going cheesy.
I'm going cheesy. I'm talking fucking Kurt Thomas, the unfortunate not Olympic competing gold medalist, was robbed a medal but given a movie in return. Jim Kata, in my opinion, is one of the strangest but most enthralling martial arts movies I've ever seen. I swear to you. There's something about Robert. Well, see, Robert Klaus is the director. What do you know about Robert Klaus?
I know nothing about.
He made fucking Enter the Dragon.
Oh shit, that's
dude. Go to this guy's list of fucking movies that he's made. It's a fucking murderer's row of like goddamn like fucking legit martial arts movies.
The Dragon, the Game of Death.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
He's got some fucking bangers on there. Look,
Warrior.
The Big Brawl.
The Big Brawl. Oh, wow. Okay.
China O'Brien's good. I like the China O'Brien movies. It's weird. They're weird, and it's like if like a blonde chick, like Irish blonde chick does martial arts, but it's great in the same sense that Jim Kata's great. But Kurt Thomas is robbed of getting his gold medal because he's meant to attend the 1980 Olympic Games, and he's going to compete in gymnastics. And because of at the time, Russia had invaded Afghanistan during their time as being the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So when the USSR invaded it, the Olympics said essentially we're gonna have Russia in, we're gonna allow them to compete, and the United States said we're boycotting. And because they boycotted, he never got a chance to earn his gold medal. And this guy had won so many gymnastic medals over the years in all these different competitions that weren't the Olympics. So he was like a guaranteed win. And he got robbed that. So in return, he invested his money into Hollywood and things like this. And he partnered up with Robert Klaus because he's like, I love Enter Dragon. I love your movies. And he goes like, let's do it. Let's make a martial arts movie and essentially make the villains kind of, Soviet style, USSR style kind of Eastern Bloc villains in the fictional country of Parmesistan or Parmesistan or whatever it's called. Parmistan? Yeah, Parmistan. It's Parmistan. Parmesian. Yeah. It's pronounced Parmesian.
It's
no, no, but Parmistan. So like, it's like the game of death, like the Jean-Claude Van Damme style competition of like get through this decathlon and you're gonna die. And he created his own martial arts style, not for the movie, not in the movie they created. Like he made up a martial arts style, then asked them to implement it in the movie. He said, "Okay, I'm gonna do this movie, but here's my martial arts style that I integrated with gymnastics. I want it in the movie." And they just said, "Fucking all right, let's do it." And so Jim Kata is what they called it, and he literally just does gymnastic moves that line up with like kicking people in the face.
That's beautiful.
At one point in this weird competition, he's in the middle of a town with crazy people, like an obstacle, like on a court, like say you're playing golf and like a sand trap's an obstacle. This obstacle is a town of crazy people. They're like, get through the town of crazy people. It's just a town of crazy people that exist on this the death decathlon as like a normal like fucking obstacle to get around. And in the center of the town, for some reason, there's like a gymnastics horse that he hops on and he spins around and fights everyone in the town with it by just spinning around the little gymnastics horse. It's such a weird, and it's that balance beam kind of bar. That's what they call them. It's like they call it a horse, but it's like really kind of like a balance beam. Yeah. But it's so bizarre. It's like, why is this here? Oh, it's only here so he could do his maneuvers and fight the entire town. And he, of course, gets to the end, wins, all that jazz. But it's the whole time you're just like, this is such a bizarre premise. And it's just rolling on, and everyone's rolling on with it. The actors are playing along. Everyone's doing it. And it's just, and the maneuvers he did are good gymnastics. He is an actual gymnast. Yeah. Not competing, but would have been a gold medal gymnast. Right. So it's like all polished. It's great. That's why I say it's a good martial arts movie. But it's fucking, compared to things like even Master of the Flying Guillotine, it's just a little absurd. It's like I almost put Miami Connection over this, but Miami Connection felt too grounded compared to this. So I was just like, this is not wild enough. I'm fucking going with Jim Kata. Like that's easy number 3 for me. Like it had to be on the list, and not quite an official martial arts movie enough to make it in the top 2. But I could watch this movie any day, anytime. Put it on. It's just like whatever. Jim Kata. I wish more people knew about it.
A lot of people don't know about the Jim Kata.
Yeah, but there. Kurt Thomas went on to become like an actor in a few other movies and never really had like a breakout career, but he's immortalized, at least this way. If he would have became a gold medalist, I would have forgotten him. Because of Jim Kentall, I'll remember him forever.
Yeah.
I will make sure more people remember. I will push this out. I will peddle this to the masses.
To the masses. We go. All right. Number 2. Moving on. So, my number 2 is The Raid.
Okay.
Which you brought up already.
Mm-hmm.
I will bring up. This is where I was considering also Ong Bak as well, but chose The Raid.
Nice.
I also was considering in this spot The Matrix as
Not
an
bad.
option.
Not bad.
That
That's
was
fair.
also a very. I would consider that a lot as that was great, but it was also more of a pastiche of other things.
True.
And didn't really invigorate or revitalize anything in the martial arts cinema game. So as much as I loved what it was, I did not put it on the list. I chose The Raid as well. And I thought about choosing The Raid 2 as well, because that was also a great film. But yeah, I ended up going with The Raid. The first time I seen this later than everyone else too. It took me a while to get to this, but when I saw it, I was just floored. And if people like things like John Wick, you could probably thank The Raid for that style of martial arts filmmaking. Because this is what that film is. It's a guy that goes from floor 1 to the top floor. He just clears a building. That is the story. He's clearing a building.
Well, it was like I was saying with the Dread movie. Like that was
similar, yeah.
fucking like I'm like, you guys are love lettering the shit out of the. You guys really like that movie, and I saw reviews that like, yeah, no, Raid's the greatest action movie ever. We fucking love it. So it's like it deserves that, and it's a weird one, and I'm surprised you came to it late, but I'm not surprised that you eventually got to it because it had such a voice around it where people were just like, no, you have to fucking see this movie. Like I can see people not letting go of that. We're like, no, go stop what you're doing, go see The Raid, drop what you're doing, pull over right now, just watch on your phone. I don't care.
The scene specifically that stands out is the one where he's in the wall. And the sword.
Yeah.
And he punches the sword in. And it's like the tension that they build up to that moment is like I was like on edge the whole time.
The attention of detail where they don't allow you to lose immersion is the part where he reaches up and he purposely grabs the blade where the blood is being spilt and he holds on to it as like a way to wipe it off when the guy pulls out the blade.
Yes.
So when the guy pulls out the blade, that there's not just blood on it now. It's like that's good fucking attention to detail when it comes to filming that a lot of people fuck up on. Yes. And this movie with so much chaos going on, still remember to fucking do that. Like that has to be one of the best martial arts movies of all time because they're not lazy about even just making a movie. Yeah. Like that's so a lot of people will be like, "Hey, we got martial arts. That's our movie. That's the gimmick. All the other shit's dumb. We don't even try. We're gonna phone it in." Here's like, no, we want a good action movie that just happens to have martial arts.
Yes. Yeah, I want to see them more.
Yeah, I wish there's a Raid 3. Right? I wish. There needs to be more Raid.
Just give them money to make something. I want to see it.
Uaz needs more screen time too. I'd like a movie where it's like him versus Tony Jaa. That'd be dope.
There you go. I would like to see that. Tony Jaa did stunt work on Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Did you know that?
No, I did not. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
That's cool. All right. What's your number 2?
This has gone back and forth over the years, but it's definitely got to be Legend of the Drunken Master with Jackie Chan. Ooh. Which by process of elimination, I'm assuming is your number 1.
Maybe.
Originally, and for many years, it was Rumble in the Bronx. That's my favorite Jackie Chan movie as a kid. That got me into Jackie Chan, and then it was just fucking. That's it from there. I just kept watching all of it. But Legend of the Drunken Master is the first time, and I remember I was in middle school when I first watched it. That I was like, holy shit, this is not only like a good martial arts movie, this is a fucking dope ass setting of a movie. Like this is a very much a period piece Like this very much pulls me into the time and the place and the cultural differences and the issues going on in Hong Kong at that time.
Yes.
And I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved that it was intelligent, but also like the choreography was fucking wild.
Right.
Way more acrobatics. And this is a movie that just came out. They made it the year before Rumble in the Bronx. Yet Jackie Chan seems so different in that movie versus Rumble in the Bronx, which I went back and rewatched that. I hadn't seen that movie in probably about 5 years. And even then, I was noticing some problems. It's like, obviously it's not Bronx. They filmed it in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like, there are no mountains in the Bronx. There are no fucking mountains. I've been there. There's no fucking mountains. So it's like, there are times where you're like, oops, that's fucking Toronto. You're in, whoops. So that's a bit of a problem. Some of the weird dubbing and like the Canadian, like they're supposed to be New York villains, but they're obviously Canadian actors. So there's that kind of immersion that it takes you out of, whereas the Legend of Drunk Master doesn't have any of that. Like everybody feels great. The British actors, even when they're kind of dubbed, still sound British, and like it feels like they did a lot of ADR in the movie, but it all still fits to the kind of style of that traditional Hong Kong kind of martial arts movie.
Yeah.
And honestly, when it came down to it, it's just that's my rainy day. No matter what's going on, like I could put that Jackie Chan movie on and feel fucking great.
Yeah.
I love the cultural setting. I love how they approach the food, how they like maintain their drinks and different types of beverages, and how like you feel like you're in a setting where they're in a market and it feels real. Like the market doesn't feel like extras. Like it really feels like Jackie Chan's around those people in the market and they're just normal people in the market, not extras in a movie.
Yes.
And there's a lot of movies that fuck that up for some reason, but it feels like so many of these martial arts, especially Hong Kong style Chinese movies, are fucking just like, here's our real setting, and it feels like these people lived in it and they're not just here for the day or the shoot.
Right.
They've always been here. This is their normal life. They wake up. And so I like that movie for that. His breaking into American success sold it for me as a kid. Like Rush Hour is a dope movie. I love that. I still like it, but those movies are great when you're younger. You're like, that's fucking amazing. But then you go back and you watch the Police Story movies. Fucking the Operation Condor was a part of the Armor of the Gods. That was the sequel, I believe.
Yeah.
And those movies are great. They're fucking amazing. There's so much, and you wouldn't see them unless they re-release them here, or you dug them up, like you found them on the internet and rewatched them yourself. And those didn't get the appreciation because they're a little more high risk.
Yeah.
If you watch the older Jackie Chan movies, his fucking rate of getting injured in the credits is so much higher, so much higher. It's absurd. And I feel like that got lost over time, even though some of his older movies were still pretty badass. Did you ever see The Foreigner? With him versus like Pierce Brosnan dealing with the IRA stuff again.
Yeah, that's something I should return to.
Oh, I should have watched that on fucking St. Patrick's Day. That's a pretty Irish movie, even though they're technically the villain. They blow up his kid, and that turns into like a Taken. Except you didn't take. She's completely taken. She's gone. They ain't getting her back, so he's just out for blood. And he's like, "You're like 70 years old, Jackie Chan. You're like leaping out of the corner, murking a dude." Like. He's such a powerhouse. He's one of the most globally known action heroes of all time. And it just like that movie, I would almost put it at number one, but I feel like the movie, obviously what I picked, kind of encompasses everything. So, but there you go. I fucking love that movie. Such a good movie.
Such a good movie.
I mean, think about the part with the villain. He's like, and that's the cool part is all the villains and all the characters hold weight. Every extra character that shows up and has like dialogue shows up again and has like a personality that you recognize. Like you're like, oh, that's the gang member who's whiny, and then that's the gang member who's like timid, and that's the gang member who thinks he's tough. And it's just like they keep those personas, and then there's like a good mid-level boss, and then there's a good final boss. And his kicks, man. He kicks so fast, it's like blades. And Jackie Chan's like, oh shit. And I say it's like the drunken master against the super kicker. But I'm sure we'll talk about it more when we get to one for you. So we'll move it on.
All right. Before we make it to number one, I'm just going to list off some things that came to my mind.
Some runner-ups, some special notes.
Didn't get...
honorary recommendations.
Didn't get added, yeah. Let's see. I have Only the Strong. You ever watch Only the Strong, the Capoeira movie
No.
with Robert Damascus? Or,
No, I've not seen this.
you know who the dude, the
Yeah.
Iron Chef dude?
Yeah.
Who's now in the John Wick movies? Or,
Yeah.
specifically John Wick,
He's been supplanted as like as a folk
Mark
hero in
Damascus.
those. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's like a
Capoeira.
He was a guy who went to Brazil. He's a Green Beret, and he learned capoeira.
Do you learn it from Eddie Gordo from Tekken?
He learned it from a guy that looks almost like Eddie Gordo. I'm not trying. That's not racist.
Hey, it's just a coincidence. They dressed exactly the same, have the same hair, and same height and color, but sure.
And he returns to Miami, Florida, to teach capoeira to. It's essentially I must teach these kids capoeira.
How do I reach these
How do I
kids
reach these
with capoeira?
kids? Oh yeah, capoeira.
Just keeping them off the streets, one wheelhouse kick at a time.
We gotta watch that.
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, we'll put that on.
All
It
right.
sounds like a good 420 movie.
Equilibrium. is
Oh,
on that
yeah,
list.
yeah.
Enter the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Police Story.
You see, I kept the Bruce Lee movies off the list because I feel like any artist can agree the Sistine Chapel is beautiful and is like a magnificent piece of artwork. That's not like, what's your favorite piece of artwork? That's easy. That's a layup. So any of the Bruce Lee movies were too easy. That's getting into the argument of like, what's the best martial arts movie of all time? That's why I didn't go with those. Because it's like, I don't feel a personal connection to Enter the Dragon. I love Enter the Dragon, but that was a ubiquitously loved movie. Like,
I love those.
there's nothing unique
films.
about that.
I love those films, but Bruce Lee was always about. He treated fighting as like something that should be done in seconds, 1 or 2 punches or a
Yes.
kick.
Yes. The Jeet Kune Do style is,
his-
I got to defeat you no matter
And
what.
his movies mirrored that.
Yes.
And that fighting is boring.
Mhm.
You know, and that's what I love about Jackie Chan is that he comes from Chinese opera.
Mhm.
He has that like
Circus
the
performer
circus
approach.
performer, the dancing aspect of it, where you
Well,
get from
the-
like
The type of film style is what is indicative of it. It's that the wuxu. It's the Chinese martial arts film genre essentially. It's
Yeah.
got like a specific term, kind of like how we were talking. Tokusatsu is like a high concept kind of thing. That's theirs. But like that is very much about the elegance of the opera performance in the choreography,
yes.
and that mirrors into Jackie Chan's overall martial arts, but then his overall production value and how he does his movies. And that's it. Yeah, Jackie Chan deserves that. But having said that, the tension and the overall just unique attacks of like the Fist of Fury when he fights the Chuck Norris one where Bruce Lee fights Chuck Norris, it's just like, I grab your hair off your chest. And like just little moves like that is very subtle, but it's impactful.
Yeah.
And that's why those movies are still so phenomenally good, but they are not as fucking scary. You're not as jarring. We're like, oh, Jackie Chan's gonna fucking die in real life. He might die in real life, and then see because he's like, oh my god. I could go back to Legend of Drug Master, but we're gonna get there on one for you. So
Yeah. What else? Kung Fu Hustle,
Kung Fu Hustle's good.
Bloodsport.
Yeah, I kept a lot the like Kung Pao and Kung Fu Hustle. I kept off because they're too much of a lampoon,
Yeah.
but they're
Same.
good. Yeah, they're
Fearless,
Fearless is really fucking good. That's such a good jet Li.
Wing Chun.
Wing Chun is good. That's
Donnie
Donnie Young and Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle
That
Yeoh.
was her big breakout commercial success. She had done movies up to that point, but that was the one in China where she became a fucking just powerhouse, and everyone was just like, yeah, Michelle Yeoh from this point on.
And then Meals on Wheels. You
That's
ever seen that?
comedy.
I love
That's
that.
yeah.
I love that
That's
one.
comedic Jackie Chan.
They
That's
got Benny the Jet in there.
Mhm.
Boxer, kickboxer. Great movie. Great
it's,
movie.
yeah, it's funny. It's
But-
it's aged a little rough, but because it's like the jokes are a little cornier, but it's still the physical comedy. It's
Mhm.
top notch
Still
in that.
good.
It's still top
Still
notch.
great.
So,
Yeah.
but good choice. Yeah.
Good stuff. Any for you that come to mind?
The only one I didn't put on the list that I almost made it that wasn't kind of tied in those weird struggles that was unique on its own was Revenge of the Ninja, which is like I didn't have any real like Japanese martial arts movies on here, and I kind of wanted to,
Same.
and but then I felt like, all right, well, enough of these other movies kind of have characters from Japan as martial artists in them, so there's it's from the Chinese depiction, but I guess it's culturally enough like integrated where I'll give it, because like Revenge of the Ninja is totally an American Japanese collaboration. Like the Canon Group made it with like I think it was like West Paramount or something back in the day, or MGM I believe, and they make this such like fucking just weird stereotypical ninja movie, like as if they were reading like a secondhand person regurgitating stereotypes about ninjas, and they just made it into a legit movie that's super gory. The choreography is very brutal. The guy's actually getting beat and bloodied, and he's actually doing his own stunts. Like he's like a Japanese dude that's doing a Jackie Chan style approach of I'll fall, get cut, and let's just keep it. Let's fucking. He had to get a lot of medical treatment every day, so it was a good movie. I liked it. It didn't quite get up to the level of shock that Jim Kata had, and it was close enough to Jim Kata where I didn't want to put it in the list over Jim Kata. And since we had to be 5, I wanted to differentiate. And I felt like if I already had Master of the Flying Guillotine, Jim Kata, and this movie, my list didn't feel like diverse enough in my mind of like what represented what I liked on martial arts.
Yeah.
But that's it. Yeah, Revenge of the Ninja. That's the only one.
I also left off any of the 80s martial arts films, like,
all of them.
American Samurai or like Best of the Best.
Oh, God. Well, see.
I guess, I mentioned Bloodsport. I guess technically that's one of them, too.
Yeah. And American Samurai is also a joke. Like, that movie's not serious. They know what they're fucking doing, especially in the second one. But, yeah. Yeah, Revenge of the Ninja is very much like the evolution of what came out of American Samurai.
Yeah.
Where the parts where I'm like, these people take this movie seriously. But then I'm like, wait. I feel like sometimes they're fucking with me and they know that this shit is kind of hoaxy and campy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a little kid who beats up like a bunch of teenagers. It's just like, whatever. And then his grandma's like whipping on people too. It's great. God.
Oh, that's great. But now's the time for us to
The piece de resistance.
Number 1. You want to go first?
Sure. Fucking
we know.
Master of the Flying Guillotine.
Yeah.
I mean, let's point out the fact that is a very ubiquitous kind of pragmatic approach to what is popular in kung fu movies at that time. There is the Fatal Flying Guillotine.
Yes.
There's just the Flying Guillotine, and then there's this Master of the Flying Guillotine. None of those movies are connected. None of them, like, there's the guillotine that overlaps it, sure, but the characters, the story, the plot, they're all different. Because the Flying Guillotine is just such a dope thing that they're like, can we just use this a couple more times and see if anyone notices it? and that's what really makes you appreciate the uniqueness of Master Flying Guillotine is it is a thing in itself that creates a genre out of itself. And all the villains and characters that take place into it. Like there's a Muay Thai boxer that's super stereotypical. There's a karate master, super stereotypical. A Indian arm stretching blackface dude who is like like his arm stretching is wild. Like you can hear the mechanical like apparatus stretching his arm out, but they keep it in there, and I don't know why. Maybe they think it sounds like his bones are stretching, and that's why they go with it. But it was such a weird thing, and see him fight with it was so bizarre, so funny, but also like kind of fascinating. Like when you're just like watching like a chicken run around without its head on, you're just like it's just like weird. It's just so bizarre and unnatural. None of this makes sense, but okay, I won't look away. I'll let it continue because it's just a fucking train wreck. And then some of the martial arts is really good. And it's not gimmicky with those things. Like there are actually people doing like maneuvers and like actually doing good tumbles and backflips. And then there are things that are like put up by wireframe and actual props and things that are very like unique and like kind of surreal. Like you're like, okay, that guy can't stand on the wall, but he's walking on the wall. He's like, let me show you my flying technique. And he just walks on the wall. There's like a weird nod to techniques in this whole thing. Like they didn't even need to bring it, but at one point he's like, I'm going to show some techniques to my students.
Right. Yeah.
The one-arm boxer just trains his students stuff.
Whoa,
and then he starts breaking out that music, and he's just like, I'll show you my moves, my one-arm move.
You know, just dancing, doing the thing.
But essentially the plot of this movie is that in the one-arm boxer, he fought 2 Buddhist monks that were trained in unique fighting styles that were hired as assassins to kill the one-arm boxer, and he defeats them. Their master returns to avenge them, and he goes out looking for a one-arm boxer, and you're just like, oh, that's super unique. Fucker finds 3 one-arm boxers before by the time he gets to the final guy who is the one-arm boxer, and you're just like, how many one-arm boxers in the tournament the guy goes to? Because the one-arm boxer is a known martial artist who's a legend of the land, a master of a school invites him to attend his tournament that he's having, and he watches it with his students, and one of the people competing in the tournament is a one-arm boxer.
Yep.
It's just like, how are the chances of a one-arm boxer being in the tournament that is being spectated by a one-arm boxer? And there's a guy on the lookout to hunt a one-arm boxer.
It was back in the day. You don't really get away Like you don't die with all your limbs. You make it. It's lucky if you like actually survive to death with all your limbs.
I guess, but it's just like they were really hamming up that plot. And then when he initially, like, the one-arm boxer leaves because he doesn't want to compete in the tournament, the other one-arm boxer gets killed by the guy, and the guy says, "I'm here to kill the one-arm boxer." But then he starts acting like the guy he just killed wasn't a one-arm boxer, and he's like still trying to question to find the one that he doesn't know left. And it's just such a weird, like, disconnect between that kind of, like, the dialogue. Yeah. Oh, and to talk about the dialogue, the reason why I love this movie, and this is a little tangent I need to go on why, like, these movies are important and you need to try to, like, download them and keep them and, like, hold on to them. Some of these movies are rips that you'll never get ripped again, and once the people stop sharing them online or seeding them, or you can't find them to download through a streaming service, like, they're lost forever. They're gone for fucking ever. We'll never see it again. Like, do you remember when they had that fire in like the 1920s or something, 1930s at Paramount, and they had that crazy fire because of the type of material that the film was on? Nitrate. Nitrate. So it's like that was like a Alexandria moment where it's like we lost all that, but not in like actual information, but in film information and film technique. We lost all that stuff. So it's like you could have that kind of moment with these martial arts films where eventually some of them are gone forever. But the version I have, I'm keeping because even though it's only in, I believe, 720, it's not in 1080. All the 1080 versions I could find, the aspect ratio is closed up so bad that it cuts out like a good chunk of the movie and looks terrible. So I keep this version because it's good aspect ratio and it's the highest definition I can get. And it's both dubbed and subbed intermittently. So, I mean, they'll be talking in a dubbed voice and then the classic yellow subs will pop on and they'll start speaking in their native language. And then they'll pop back and forth. And it's just random. It's always random. And it adds to the enjoyment of the movie, in my opinion. It makes it so fucking just a cacophony of like a carnival nonsense that you're like, I can't wait to see what happens next in this fucking movie. Oh, this guy's arms are stretching. It's just like, I really appreciate that version. And that version is, I had to dig for that. I had to dig for months to try to find that one. And now I'm like, I'm never letting go of this again. Like, I'll probably never find another version.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But yeah, like that's the appreciation I had for that movie because there's so much to the genre it mined out and expanded upon that so many movies afterwards kind of took from it because it's a tournament movie. They're literally fighting in a tournament, but it's also a movie about revenge. And it's also a movie about like these little interpersonal relationships. You could break apart Bastard Flying Guillotine and make 3 separate movies and they would all be good movies. But because you put them together in this and you think it's too much, the chaos bleeds together in one like tornado of a movie all fitting together in this whirlwind that kind of keeps you going. Doesn't ever stop. You don't ever get a chance to like kind of like, oh, the energy is dropping in this movie. You're like, nope, next scene, what's happening next? What the fuck just happened? I mean, the dude in the fucking blackface with the stretchy arms had an owl at one point that he throws as a weapon. He fucking uses an owl on his shoulder as like a ranged attack and it scratches up the one-arm boxer's face. That's great. Oh man, I could go on about that movie for ages, but what's your number one, sir?
It's a good movie, as you know. Mine is Legend of the Drunken Master, as you had on your list. This is the second film. Now,
yes,
the first film was okay. It was okay. It was fun. It was entertaining. It still had some like comedy to it, but it just did not have what Legend of the Drunken Master had. The second one had.
That was Yu Wu Ping. Yeah, he was the old man who is the trains him in the drunken style. He's the I'm sorry. It was his son directs it, and his father plays the old man who is the one who does the drunken style. It's weird. Like the son is the director and the father is like one of the lead actors. And so essentially what happens is they make this movie and Jackie Chan's a big part of it, and this kind of launches his career. Jackie Chan comes back to it. His creative differences over Yu Wu Ping and how the approach to alcoholism is handled in the first movie. Jackie Chan says, like, we don't really make a narrative that the alcoholism could be a problem to a person and that just drinking makes you more powerful in the first movie. In this next movie, I don't want to do that. I want to show both sides. I want to do like kind of like a double-edged sword of what alcohol is. And so they split. Yu Wu Ping is not involved creatively in Drunken Master 2, Legend of Drunken Master. And he goes off to make Drunken Master 3, which is not canonically connected, but still called Drunken Master 3. So it's wild. But so Jackie Chan does the different approach, and he's the one who helms Legend of Drunken Master and ends up making a lot of the creative decisions and has this whole like, okay, like look how fucking I'm falling apart. Look how gross I am. In the end of the movie, did you know something weird about the ending? Have you ever watched the movie in its original language subbed?
I believe so.
Okay. In the end of the dubbed version, they say, "Where's Jackie? I want to or where's Wu Fei Hong? Wu Fei Hong. Where's Wu Fei Hong? Which is an actual folk hero in Japan. Apparently, is like a legendary folk hero, like you know how we have like Johnny Appleseed and all that shit. Like Wu Fei Hong apparently is a folk hero that actually comes up in a bunch of shit. And so they're like, where's Wu Fei Hong? And she's like, oh, he's sleeping off a hangover. Like, he's still dealing with the effects. And then it ends on, like, a happy note. In the subbed version, they say he has brain damage. They mention that he has suffered brain damage from the effects of the sacrifice that he went through to drink that alcohol at the end to defeat the kicking guy.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. You're like, whoa.
Damn.
And that's like Jackie Chan wanted a hard line on that, where he's like, even though I won in the end, I want people to know it was a sacrifice. And so when Dimension got a hold of it, I think that's who released it in the United States a few years later. After like the success of Rumble in the Bronx, they went back and re-released a bunch of Jackie Chan movies. That's why we get fucking Super Cop and First Strike, Operation Condor. Those are all sequels that they relabeled. You know what crazy Super Cop series is? There's 4 canon Super Cop straight movies that is like Super Cop 1 through 4, and then there's like Crime Story, or no, not Super Cop, Police Story.
Police Story.
There's Police Story like 1 through 4, and then there's like Crime Story, and then there's the reboot, New Police Story, and then they made a sequel to that, and then they're doing a new reboot, also still starring Jackie Chan. There's like the Police Story franchise has like 7, 8 movies, something like that, and they're all kind of loosely connected, except for the reboots. But I digress. Like this was like they re-released it, they dubbed it, and it had like a lot of that stuff kind of changed and edited out to sound a little more less dour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's fascinating. That weird backstory is like I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's why he's not involved. The old man doesn't show up. The father is technically the only character who is a returning character, but not actor. Like his father is in the Drunken Master as a main pivotal character, and like he has this like fat cousin, and his aunt shows up with his. But that aunt I don't think is supposed to be his stepmom, even though his stepmom is his aunt. I don't think that was supposed to be the same character. Right. And so like the only characters that do return is Wu Fei Hong and his father, but obviously his father's not the same actor, and they don't really make any nods to the original Drunken Master being canon in Drunken Master 2, even though they did call it Drunken Master 2 out the gate. But there's not anything. There's not like a reference. There's not like they know that he's Wu Fei Hong, and they know he does drunken boxing, but they don't ever be like, oh well, yeah, but you learned that from that guy that we had come down to teach you, because he was a piece of shit, and his father's like, I want to teach you a lesson, and so I'm gonna have this drunken guy like assault you for a summer.
Damn.
It's essentially what that first movie. Yeah. But that's it. I tried to like find like I was like, do any of the characters return? Is there any like direct like is any of Drunken Master 1 through 3 connected? And they're like, no, the characters are in name, a couple of them, but for the most part, Jackie Chan's the only actor returns from 1 to 2. Everything else is just different. You could almost even say like that's why they called it Legend of the Drunken Master when they released it here, because you don't need to see the first one. You absolutely do not need to see the first one.
Not at all.
And think of the weapon choreography in this, like the spear fighting, the sword fighting, the axe.
Remember when
he's fighting the axe gang with the bamboo? Yeah. And then he spits the oil on him and ties the bamboo stick so he can wield it better, and he's slipperier.
Dude, like really burned himself too in all those scenes.
This is what I wanted to get into, is that scene where he like falls on the burning embers of the charcoal and such. It's like that was all like his hands were actually blistered and burnt up like second and like 3rd degree burns.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He was scarred from that movie, which is crazy because he had broken his leg in the next film, Rumble in the Bronx, and then filmed like another film on top of that with that leg still broken. Oof. It's just like fucking Jackie Chan's a beast.
Yeah, that's rough.
Beast.
That is rough.
But that's a great number 1. Like I only went with Master Flying Guillotine because it's like it references almost every martial arts movie we like.
Yep.
there's something in it.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. They're both good choices. I love all of these, and there's so many more that I could choose from. We could go through this list.
Oh yeah, we kept it to 5 because we don't have enough time to record 3 hours.
We can't do this.
Yeah, 3 hours. It's like we're already up to an hour and a half, and it's like that was 5.
Yeah,
that means if we would have done 10, it would have been 3 hours.
3 hours for
easily.
Sure. For sure.
Easily. But no, that's good though. These are good. That's a good list.
It's a good list.
These are. I'm so happy we overlapped. Much respect to you, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. So what do we had? We had the Master Flying Guillotine, Drunken Master, and the Raid.
Yep, that was
So
yeah.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, and you were close on like picking on Bach for a few of them, and yeah, you got me with your Jet Li choice and your Jackie Chan choice though. I would have.
Those are good.
Those are surprising. I like that.
I like both. Of
Much
those.
respect to that.
For sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's all we have to talk about martial arts films. Next we'll talk about something else. Who knows? I don't know what direction this is going. We don't even have a name for this yet. But we
don't even know what we're doing. It's like every podcast. We don't know. We're just winging it. We just wing this shit.
We don't know what we're doing. We do have a website though. We do have a website.
Yeah.
Visit freespeechgeek.com, and that's where our podcast will be hosted. Come and check it out. Be on the lookout. There will still be Podcast of X episodes in the future. We'll still talk about X-Men soon, eventually.
There's
maybe.
stuff there.
There's stuff. There's stuff brewing.
Yeah. There's old stuff that's always good.
Keep a lookout. We got WonderCon next week, so I'll probably have some stuff to talk about from there. But that'll do it for us this week. I don't know how to sign off on this. Go watch Drunken Master. Go. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Learn some wushu, bitches.
Wushu it up.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you love this podcast, we have a lot more content over at freespeechgeek.com. We have upcoming convention coverage, news about your favorite weeb shit. We also do in-depth takes like, are some fans more religious than Christians, Jews, and Muslims? Spoiler alert, yes, some of you crazy people are. All that and more over at freespeechgeek.com. Go check it out, you psychopaths.